All right, man. I'm here in Yosemite at the Grizzly Giant. I'm here with Anthony. Can you go ahead and introduce yourself?
Yeah, hello. My name is Anthony Lerma, born and raised in Mariposa. I'm a stewardship coordinator, but I kind of deal with the fields operations for the Southern Sierra Miwok Nation and supervising the Mesu crew. And Mesu means beaver in our language, so we're the beaver crew, and we deal with fuels reduction and cultural burning. So glad to be here.
Awesome, man.
Hey, I'm Tara Fauchmoore. I am also Southern Sierra Miwok Nation. I sit on our tribal council, and I also direct our landscape stewardship department.
All right. And then Irene?
Manahu, Machiksasu. I'm Irene Foskas. I work as a cultural biologist for the Great Basin Institute. I'm also enrolled with Southern Sierra Miwok Nation. And yeah, happy to sit with you all today.
Yeah, I'm glad to be here. We were here for the Grizzly Giant. And what are they doing here today with the sequoia?
Well, we're having like a health check, air quotes, but like a stewardship day event to celebrate this amazing being, but all all the trees in this grove, this forest, and talk about the continuity of care that's, has been here since time immemorial from our people. Yeah.
Yeah, because when we're talking to the scientists, they're going to go up there and take some samples of certain things up there and bring them. Are they bringing them down, or are they just going to leave them up there?
I think they got to bring them down the top of the foliage, they said.
Yeah.
The needles.
Yeah.
From the top to study the molecules, the water molecules, see how drought stressed the tree might be, this grizzly giant. This tree's significant because it's the widest girth tree. Actually, I don't know the facts. I'm sorry. It's a really cool tree. But they're also looking for bark beetle impacts. But what we've heard so far from the research scientists with ancient forest societies that it's a pretty it's healthy tree.
Yeah, that's what he was saying.
Yeah.
Found the water up there. And Anthony, what do you guys do here for the land? You guys, as the beaver crew?
Yeah, so working in the Mariposa Grove, we've been doing a lot of the fuels reduction around black oaks, around cultural sites, archaeological sites.
Mm-hmm.
So sites that have chasses or bedrock mortars is what we call them. Just trying to, open that up. Obviously, sequoias are a big deal in this grove.
Mm-hmm.
So a little further up the road from the Grizzly Giant, we were doing some work to clean up around some sequoias too, and try to propagate or cultivate those things to come back. And but yeah, no, I mean it is always weird coming into this side of things with them doing their science and doing the study. And we had a brief conversation before this started about. Yeah, there's always that weird thing of like, as a native person, it's like an ancient relative. It's old. It's got this history. So like, who are we to be messing with it, or to be poking and prodding at it? But I understand in the grand scheme, it helps with science. It helps understand what a healthy forest or a healthy tree looks like and how to make that happen for the forest. So, yeah, we just focus more on the implementation.
Burning.
And burning, yeah.
You guys were burning up here this winter already. So
yeah.
That was cool.
My bad. Yeah, we ended up burning like 600, probably almost 1,000 piles by the time it was all said and done. So that's, trying to bring fire back into the grove too. Mm-hmm. I think a lot of people know it now, but a lot of people don't. But the sequoias are propagated through fire, through smoke, and without that cycle in their life, we're not going to really be able to have a lot of those healthy forests come back. So reintroducing fire in a good way, that's kind of what my crew focuses on too. So,
and with the people here getting moved away, that's been missing since then.
It makes it even way harder. And, I'll give my boss credit, Tara. It's native people are a keystone species. So when you remove that keystone species away from the ecosystem, something's going to happen, know? So, yeah.
Yeah, Tara.
Yeah, well, that I think is one of the most devastating things that's happened in the Sierras is the removal of tribal folks and indigenous stewardship. And it's kind of cool, what's happening today is that we're all here trying to figure out how to come back from that.
Mm-hmm.
We have not been able to steward these lands, and now we're in a place where, some of our federal partners are realizing that missing piece. And so today, here with this Grizzly giant, we're looking at two sides of that coin where like, yeah, we need that scientific information to know, what has happened in the last 175 years.
Since we've been gone off
Since
this
we've
land.
been gone.
Yeah.
Yeah. Since these trees have been left alone and neglected. And so, it's really cool that we have that side of it, that proving that like, the forests have changed, that, it's awesome to know that this tree's in good health still, but that won't last forever without the other side of the coin, which is that Indigenous stewardship on the ground, getting our hands dirty in these same soils that our ancestors did. And, you kind of, these days you gotta have both.
And what's up here? Like a lot of plants, like a lot of acorn and...
Well, there are some black oaks in this zone, but it's a really specific elevation, 6,000 feet. So there's beautiful sugar pines around us, some beautiful ponderosa pines.
I mean, that's...
Sorry, I'm just looking around. I loved all the trees at this elevation.
Yes.
But it's a specific beautiful area with the elevation, and that's why these big trees grow here, because they have access to water with the snow, and they need a lot of water. But yeah,
and which we don't touch the sugar pines either.
Oh, you don't?
We try to respect those, and
because they're endangered as well.
Yeah.
Oh wow.
Well,
okay. And was there a lot of snow this past year or anything?
I wouldn't say a lot, but I mean, there was the days where it's like, okay, there's a lot of snow here,
Yeah.
but it,
melts right away, probably.
Yeah, it wasn't. Nah, yeah,
It was a weird winter.
Yeah.
So.
I mean, and just the one little plug, because I've been thinking about it for months, but cultural fire first was outlawed in 1793, back when the Spanish first did it, and then you had that. Fortified in the 1850s when the miners came through. California was started. And then you have it again in 1910 and 1911 with the Weeks Act. So to me, as a native burner, I look at that and I'm like, so almost 3, 4, 5 different times throughout history, cultural burning was specifically targeted to not do it no more.
Right.
So, as much as government or any system would like to claim negligence or claim ignorance about how to steward the land, I feel like a lot of them didn't know what they were doing by keeping native people away from the land, or the Aina, whatever you want to call it. Keeping them away from that. That's why I'm in this world now, being reintroduced or being invited back to the table or moving full force, because we have a lot to make up for. But, and I don't hold any grudge or anything against people or the systems. A lot of the people we're dealing with, we're sitting at the table because they want to be involved. They want to see that change. They want to be part of that healthy, healing relationship. But by no means is this new. This was definitely like targeted. And this
was absolutely a targeted attack, because at that same time, in the 1850s, the ranchers and all those, colonial people, they were learning from the Indians how to burn. And using that for their ranches or whatever way that it benefited them. But, so it was really, that was a government down strategic move to target Indian people in our way of life.
Yeah.
And I've actually been on burns and been in meetings, after action reviews. I don't want to drop too much information because, they don't know it, but in that meeting, that fire boss was claiming how ranchers are the ones who created prescribed burning and created this idea of standing. And literally, there was, 15 other natives in the room, and I didn't roll my eyes, but I seen everyone go like, "Are you kidding me right now?"
You see everybody's faces.
What are you saying right now? But that just shows you like the ownership was given to, passed on. Created.
I guess their history starts there.
Right. Exactly.
So it's a different thing. But anyway,
it just shows you though where a lot of society's mindsets are. It's not ancient wisdom. It's not ancient knowledge. It's like, oh, this is something that's a couple hundred
science.
Right.
Yeah.
It's a couple hundred years old. It's like, no.
Yeah.
This way of life and how to steward is ancient. And it's not really even subjective to just native people in America. There's people in China, there's people in the Nordics, there's people all over the world that do it. So Australia is very common.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Yeah. And then it's good to see you work with these rangers, and look like they're very respectful with you in the cultural burning and, just the way they were smudging today and things like that. I mean, it seemed like it was like, oh, they're being really respectful with the Indigenous community right now.
Yeah. They want it. I guess, it's this realization of, fire's coming back no matter what. And in this grove, actually, specifically Mariposa Grove, this is where fire was brought back in the National Park Service, specifically to Yosemite, but in the 1950s. So there is a relatively long history of prescribed fire in this grove. What this crew, the Meso crew, has been doing is expanding the buffer zone around this grove and other places in the park in Yosemite, our ancestral homelands, to do more fuel reduction, to give more safe reentry to other areas, working prioritizing, ARC sites where fuels have been left because they are sensitive. But yeah, there's a long history of fire, even of our elders working with Park Service and Jay Johnson, our spiritual elder, a fire archaeologist, using his notes that he took as a forestry crew leader and to justify bringing fire back into the Illilouette Basin in Yosemite into the forest here. So that's from native knowledge.
Yeah. I know as burning was very traditional because my grandmother, Elvina Brown from Elam, we would always have to watch her. She's going to start a fire. Like she was always going to start something. So we always had to make sure that,
Does she smoke too?
No, she didn't. Okay, so. But she'd burn her yard and we'd all have to make sure to keep an eye on because that's what she liked to do. She liked to, start burn area. Yeah. But we all thought like, oh, what is she doing?
Even
but
as
then,
she got older.
Yeah. That was still in her mind to burn.
Well, and our people up here too
she knows how to do it.
All of our people for years have known that burning is a part of our culture as Miwok people, Paiute people, like in this area. That's definitely part of it. But early in the days, you would have a lot of people say like, because there isn't no natural fires in the valley, that there wasn't prescribed burning. And then you have Kat Anderson's report that proves that, that there was.
Then gas away.
And then, so it's like there was the fire rings on the cedars and all the trees in the valley. Like that shows that there was a cultural burn or some kind of a burn through here outside of your rare natural occurrence. So I think that's, just the science side of it. We as Native people always knew we were here doing that. So it helps working with a lot of these scientists and, hey, help us prove it, since they want it in writing anyways. Let's work together to make that.
Yeah, fire scars don't lie on a tree.
Yeah.
Well, it's unfortunate that is something that we need these days is proof of things that Indigenous people already know. But, if you know what you're looking for, you could see it on the landscape even. There's a hillside that's nothing but manzanita and buckbrush. Like, that's a neglected hillside.
Yeah.
If you look around here, there's these beautiful trees, beautiful overstory. But, you'll notice that in the areas that are clear, it's also got other foods. It's got gooseberry. It's got rose. It's got,
azalea.
Yeah, exactly. It's got, the Mariposa lily, which I love. And those are edible bulbs, So it's like the overstory and the understory. And if you know what you're looking for, you know what a healthy landscape looks like.
Yeah, you can see through the forest now here. It's neat with the amount of fuel that's been
removed. It wasn't like this before.
There was just a CAL FIRE grant, that CCI project that helped remove tons of biomass. And Garrett Dickman could speak more to the amount of jet size amounts of fuels that was taken from the surrounding area of the Mariposa Grove. It is amazing.
Well, people get, they call it the green blindness. They just look out into the forest and they see green stuff and they think it's good. But if you look and there's just a sea of little baby 2-foot tall cedars, that's green, but that's not a healthy forest. You know, that's like 100 little straws soaking up all the water, taking up all the sunlight. So all our other foods can't survive.
Well, and two things too with that is like in the valley, the elders said that you could stand on one side of the valley and look across and see the rocks on the other side. That you could take a horse and gallop full sprint across and not get knocked off by branches and stuff. So I know that's something my crew and our crew, we've keep in our brain is like try to get those openings where we're seeing all the way across the valley and it's opening up. Because what you'll see in Mariposa County specifically and in the valley is you have this like almost monocrop of conifers. It's like, because a lot of them were planted, especially in Mariposa. When you get further down, a lot of that was supposed to be logged. Then logging one day didn't become popular. Well, what happened to all the conifers that got left behind?
Right.
They start taking a life of their own. They start taking over the forest. They start encroaching, assisted migration, and they move into areas they shouldn't even be in, and so trying to rebalance that and like keeping that in mind that, yeah, a lot of these areas should be oak groves.
Yeah.
They should be meadows. They should be open and spacious. Don't get me wrong. Like if we see a big old growth ponderosa, like obviously that thing's been here.
Or cedar too.
Or cedar, yeah. Well, let me clarify. Anything that's kind of old or big, we leave it alone. But a lot of the smaller stuff, I tell people, I'm like, how old do you think that is? They're like, I don't know, 100 years. I'm like, that's probably only 10 years old.
Mm-hmm.
And they're like, what the?
The fast growing species.
It's like, that's how.
Compared to the hardwoods.
So I always tell the guys too, like make as much of a difference as we can in the units we're in. Cause it might be years before we get to go and steward them again. So,
well, it's also good for what you guys are doing for the wildlife too.
Absolutely.
With you guys cleaning and everything like that, it helps the wildlife grow. It helps, help them with food and everything like.
Well, that's
especially.
We hope, and sometimes there are unintended consequences. It's like, that's like someone's home. So you try to give them warning and be like, sorry, you're evicted. I got to move from this pile, or like you're conscious of nesting birds.
Yeah, you got to look up in a tree.
You got to, we try to not.
I mean, we try not to even disturb like mushroom pits. Yeah. We're like, there's a lot of mushrooms here. Let's walk away from that and let it be.
That's that home.
Yeah, because I know where we live in Mount Graham area, and it looks like here, like everything's here, like for ceremony, for food.
Oh yeah,
everything is here, and I can see that now. I can see everything here. I'm even thinking about like, wow, we could use this for our ceremony that's laying out here, So I know.
Well, that's a common misconception too, is that if the forest, like Tara said, the green wave, if you see a bunch of green, then everything must be healthy and all the animals must be really enjoying it. But it's like, it's contrary to that belief. When you open the forest up, you start seeing the deer run back through there. You start seeing the bears come back. You start seeing a lot of that. So it does make a difference.
That's why, one of the many reasons we used to burn traditionally is, open it up and then you have better hunting, then you have better meadows drawing in those foraging animals. But going back to what you said about, everything's here, that we've been in situations where we go in and we're trying to clear out and we're like, wow, there's really there's a lot of elderberry, there's a lot of wormwood, there's tons of food, there's tons of medicine, there's flowing water. Like, I can't believe this isn't like a place that people would have been.
Yeah.
And then you clear out more and then you find a big old bedrock mortar, chasse under 6 inches of duff. And you're like, I knew it. Like, I knew this was somebody's garden.
Yes.
Which we have. We've totally uncovered spots that like the Arcs didn't have on their map, and I don't know if that would have happened if there wasn't a crew out there feeling it out, know. That's what I always tell people too. When you get on an ARC site, you can take a seat right there and look around.
Yeah.
You're going to probably see black oak. You're going to see poison oak. You're going to see wormwood. You're going to see all the medicines and resources that you probably need to survive for a little bit. And you can I would argue that our people, and I mean, I know it's true. We cultivated those. We created those kitchens. We created those dining rooms and those, all around us right here in those areas. So every time we go into a site, we keep that in mind too. Like we're going back into an elder's kitchen. We're going back into their home. This was their home.
And we think bigger than the site too. It's
right.
Like it's not just this little defined 50
landscape.
How did they get from this spot to that ridge? It's like, well, you use the natural topography. You walk along the water. It's just how, you follow the animals. So we still try to think that way and how to even treat an area.
Yeah.
Use the natural barriers
Well, it's good as Indigenous, because I've heard you guys say it before, and now, like a lot of non-natives say it, it's like you guys are related to this land, because a lot of people
to each other.
a lot of people say they're connected to this land.
Yeah.
But our people, Indigenous people, I always hear, we're related to the land. We're related to the bear. We're related to
the trees.
Yeah, to the trees.
Or like plant relatives.
Yeah, they're all relatives. They're not connection, they're relatives.
Right.
I mean, I say it all the time to non-native people, but our language, you won't see it in our language either. It doesn't reflect that. Like, it's not like, oh, that thing over there, or oh, it's literally like that being. Like when they were when the ethnographers were breaking down our language, they were like, why? We can read it, and then we hit these little hiccups where it's like they're talking about a tree like it's a living thing, and it's like, yeah, no, we were.
Yeah.
Well, also because we eat eat it.
Yeah.
Eat the acorn. It's in our sustenance. It's in our DNA.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe that's why. But I'm like, what does it take for other people to be relative? Maybe they got to get scratched and cut up.
You gotta bleed and
gotta
sweat.
you know, like that's what it takes is to exchange that blood.
Yeah.
I don't know. But yeah.
Well, being born.
That's a good observation.
Well, yeah, like you just said it though. Yeah. Being born from here, I think, is a big foot in that door.
Mm-hmm.
But not everyone feels that way.
No.
You know? It takes like, you gotta, I don't know, you gotta walk the land and feel it and take responsibility too. It's not, there's some people who don't.
Well, a lot of people know where they come from, but they don't know how to walk in it, you know, and that's the thing that they need to learn.
I think that's the biggest thing right there, honestly, is, at least for me, I can't speak for everybody, but you know, I'm walking on a trail and I know that for thousands of years, my family has walked on this trail. Yeah. I swim in that Merced River, Wakalmutu, and I know that my ancestors have swam and fished right there. Like,
and we pick up the trash and we take it out.
Yeah.
You know,
I've seen the trash too yesterday. Yeah,
just do your part. You know, if you're pregnant, you get a little squat and you pick up a micro trash, and you're like, because I care for this place.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, and not to get like political or change the topic, but like, and that's
there we go.
But that's coming from a tribe that's not federally recognized either. Like, our government doesn't see us as a tribe or a people, but we're going to continue to steward these lands and take care of them no matter what, because we do have that connection. Yeah. Those blood ties, you know, and, you know, not to be too dramatic, but yeah, I do. I see my ancestors' blood on that land. I see my history. I see, you know, my grandmother and them were born in Mid-Pines, like on the dirt, you know. Great grandpa was born in Yosemite way back when. So it's like, that stuff, it adds up over time and it means something to those that are here.
Sometimes federally recognized, like my tribe is, it's kind of, sometimes it's a downfall because we think like, oh, we're federally recognized, we're a tribe member, and that's all we need to know.
Yeah.
Right. But, you know, a lot of other natives, like when we fight for Oak Flat, we know certain areas because we were trying to save this land, but there's a lot of natives that are on the reservation say, no, this is where we're from.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
No, we're not.
So that's actually one of my main, not to get too deep into that, but that's the main issue. I have cousins that are federally recognized there, and the reservations, they have an autonomous system for the most part. They can isolate themselves from the community around them. They have hospitals. They have things that they can use. Like a lot of our tribe here, and specifically in Mariposa County, we don't have that. So like a lot of us have integrated into our systems, learned how to make them work for us, you know, like,
try to.
Like I mean, I feel cheesy saying this, but like even giving a shout out to my cousin Jeremy, like he's the sheriff of our county. Yeah. You know, like Tara's our board member. Like there's all kinds of people in our community that have stepped up into these roles of community relationship and engagement.
That's why we're here now, actually, in the Park Service with elders working for generations.
And that's why I hear all the time, like, for being a non-federally recognized tribe, you guys sure move like one. You guys sure have the presence of one. But it's like, and again, not throwing shit at anybody. But that's because like our ancestors and our elders, Sandra, Jay Johnson, Bill Tucker, all them put that in us. Les James, that this is our home and that like this is our land. And like if we don't care about it, then no one else is going to. Yeah. And it's not a chip on my shoulder, but I'm proud of where we're from and I want to protect it and keep doing right by that, you know?
I think that struggle actually kind of helped us stick together too. You know, we needed each other. And so we really fought hard. We've been fighting for federal recognition since 1982. And even before then,
1891.
No, that's true. It started way back then. But, you know, we fought to be in connection with Yosemite. We fought to stay together as a community. And, you know, I think that hardship, honestly, kind of, you know, despite it all, it really kept us together.
Yeah. And then I was saying that, you know, with the people living in Yosemite, it's like that sometimes in Arizona because like you guys got beautiful landscape and of course you guys are going to get moved off. And so like even in Arizona, like we have Sedona, that, you know, Yavapais were there. Yeah. They got pushed off a long time ago. And so they're in an area where they're not even supposed to be at. Right. And I seen that with you guys here, with this tribe here, beautiful landscape. But when that happens, that means you're going to get pushed off.
Well, conservation. The name of conservation.
Again, I feel like it's always I'm not taking shots at YMPS. You know, they've grown. You know, we've grown, we're growing, we're learning, we're creating partnerships. But you know, in 72, 69, I forget. One of those years.
68.
that under the guise of fire practice, our elders' houses were burnt down in the valley.
Oh, yes.
And that was supposed to be a fire practice on, structure fire. We're going to do, hope you don't mind we burn your houses down. We'll move you somewhere else. Oh, if you don't work here, you got to go. So it's like,
I heard that, yes.
And I'm not taking a shot, but like that history is still fresh. We still have elders that were alive when that happened. And, that's part of that. You just talked about taking us out.
Yeah.
Yeah. Our people fought very hard to stay. And have fought very hard to still stay. Mm-hmm. And even up until the 60s, up until the 70s, we were still here. We still found ways to get back to our ancestral lands, only to be shipped out again. So it's been an ongoing battle, and it'll never, whoever's listening to this, the Miwok people, like, we're always going to be a part of Yosemite, no matter what. So.
Right.
And the other tribes.
And the other, there's many tribes. There's 6 other nations that have ties to Yosemite and claims too, and I mean, a lot of
landscape was lots of trading throughout from the Sierras over. People have long, I come from lineages on both Miwok and Paiute side, and all the obsidian in the park is is from the east side. So that tells you a long history of trade. And then there's words for what is that?
Well, like they say,
or clamshell or shells, shell beads. Like those those have been found in the park, in the valley too. So people, Miwok language going to the coast, people speaking and trading for a long time.
Yes, and I seen a picture, and I was seen it before. As my tribe, Lerma, my grandfather, they brought their their ceremonial big head here, their bole dance, they brought it to Yosemite in 1971. And so for him to bring that here, it had to be a special place, because that's a special dance for us. So for him to travel that and bring that here, that's when I was like, yes, Yosemite is very spiritual for him to do that.
Well, and there's I call them, there's those pockets, throughout the state that, and not taken from other tribes, but there's just areas that you're like, that's, and to me, the valley is one of those areas where it's like, bro, this is, no matter what native you're from, you're going to feel the energy when you go through there.
Trees being around here.
Right.
It's different.
When you go down to like Point Conception or the Chumash, you go down on the beach on there, you feel that energy. You're like, wow, this is, I understand why this is your spiritual, sacred. Up north, you got your spots and you can feel it. Cause I've gone to the coast, I've gone to other ceremonies, and they've straight up wearing my Wahoga t-shirt, and they're like, oh, I know where you're from. Yeah. You're from up there with that old village where they do the old ways. I'm like, I don't know. I guess that's just how we grew up doing it. I don't know no difference. So, but I can feel that energy that something long ago, elders used to share that story and share that medicine with each other. I think it's important.
Yeah.
Thankfully they did.
Yeah. When I hear people on the coast like, oh, we sing this bear song, that's from up Yosemite, or oh, we sing a song up here, that's from the coast. So it's like, okay.
I love knowing where the songs come from.
That's the thing now today, which is good, is like, if you were going to sing a song, you have to say where it's from, if it's not yours.
Which is tough.
And I see a lot of people doing that today. And now I'm like, that's really changed. And I like to see that.
It's acknowledging. It's acknowledging Indigenous people, hey,
acknowledging each other.
Yeah. I like that.
Well, and that's actually, in talking to one of our spiritual leaders, Rusty Roan, we were talking because he's created 4 new songs. And I was asking him like, you could do that? And he's like, yeah, who's to say that your songs don't become the songs they're singing 100 years from now? Yeah. You know what I mean? And so, our people, if a song comes to you, then sing it, and so there's that too that I've always tried to keep in mind when working out here in the forest. Yeah. Is there any songs that are going to come? And I've had like 1 or 2, mostly around fire. Yeah. That's why Rusty's like, well, I think that fire spirit's calling you then,
That's the fire song.
Yeah. But, and that's Huyu in our language. It's Huyu. Right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Huyu.
Yeah.
It's fire.
He needs to work on his tonation.
Yeah. We joke. Yeah. Got to catch the rhythm. Want some rhythm here still,
No, I like the words.
We need to tune to that.
Well, because we talked, a lot of the Hawaiian people, they have such
sing-songy.
Well, and such mellow, and it's melodic. It sounds so good, and so I'm like, hey, what's going on? Yeah. Or like some of the Nordic people, they've got like this very, so I'm like,
well, there's some that, they know the words and they give it to the the singer that makes the tune.
Okay.
And the singer makes the tune.
Yeah. Okay.
But like you would come with the words.
We all have our special skills, right?
Yeah.
The writers. Or,
And the singer, I think my grandfather, Jim Brown, was a singer, actually probably made some songs, because he knows how to tune songs.
Yeah.
So, that's how they really, they used to make them.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
That's true. That's all part of it, though, that language revitalization, too. We need to bring our words back into the forest. We need to remember them before they're gone. And that's, I'm the opposite. I know the tune and I don't know the words.
Yeah. Give me the words and I'll do the tune for it.
Well, and like Tara said, I mean, there's an importance to speaking the language from the land that it's from. Mm-hmm. When you can reintroduce those words and that language, and you're speaking to the ancient ones, and you're speaking to the plant relatives. Again, not to sound cheesy, but it makes a difference. You feel a difference.
Well, once you learn the language of the land, then you get to hear the language, the land talking to you.
Yeah. It does.
And that's when you can hear everything that they're saying.
Yeah.
But first you have to understand.
No, that's what I mean by, it's just when you start learning it, you start thinking and feeling different about it. You start
to hear them. Yeah.
That's fun.
No, I love it.
It is fun.
And for it to come up in your head again, it's like, oh yes, that's a success, Yeah. Keeping it all, keeping it in my head, and hopefully trying to have my son, speak it and know it. And as like, because I didn't have that as a little girl, but now that he can count, it's like, oh, that's awesome.
Yeah.
That's so badass. I'm doing okay, and not to say that, my parents, we didn't have that opportunity. We didn't have language classes. My grandma went to boarding school. So that wasn't available to my mom's generation and her, that a lot of these things we have to revitalize, and it's no one's fault. Yeah.
And I think you were saying yesterday, we were talking, they couldn't even do their culture, their practice. No. So, now we can, and so
you could be proud about it. You can be, I mean,
and it's not easy, even now as in this time we're living to do it. It's a lot of work. Sometimes I'm tired out and I'm like, man, we got another cultural event this month. I'm tired. But you take some time also, that's your own ceremony time too for yourself. Sometimes you need to just rest and relax and center your family. And that's ceremony as well for me, at least, because you can't take care of others if you're not taking care of yourself. So.
Yeah.
But I mean, and on another note, like she kind of hit on, but it's just exhausting in general to have to explain to a society that doesn't understand what it means to be indigenous. Yeah. It gets exhausting
and
to have to
drive up here all the time, to work on the land it's a lot.
Oh, you're Indian? Oh, I thought they were all in the museum or something. Right. Or
even just being out here sawing it. That work is physical and tiring, and you need to drink and water and rest.
But it's also emotionally exhausting. I feel, you're driving down the hill and you're looking at these forests in disrepair, and you're saying it feels like this huge weight of responsibility of everything we need to fix, plus all the stuff that happens in tribal community.
And sometimes we're on these places, on these bedrock mortars, and it's like, dang, we made a first initial cut, but it's still a fire hazard still in here. It's scary, and it is emotional.
And looking at all the invasive species, I really have to stop myself, because I'll look out over this, Central Valley covered in golden grass that doesn't belong here, and I feel nostalgic for something that I've never seen before. I want to see what that was like.
Right.
And so that's hard. It's you have to remind yourself to not do that. Otherwise we get really depressed. But we went up to the high country, and it's pretty unchanged up there. And man, that made me feel really good, just seeing things how they should be.
Honestly, we could be mad every day. You know what I mean? Just seeing everybody come up here and man, well, what are they doing up here? I mean, you can do that, but it's not good for yourself to be like that in your spirit.
And not that it happens too often. I think most of the people that inquire about the work we're doing or come up and talk to us are pretty receptive to want to know what's going on. But you will run into those people who are like, what are you guys doing? Can't believe you're cutting the trees down. You're damaging the forest. And it's no, your people,
They don't know.
your ancestors damaged the forest.
No, we can't be saying that. No, we got to be respectful.
But
we just have to do some education. Actually,
in my truth, as a
we're trying to grow big trees.
Yes.
And, we honor these spirits of every tree.
Right,
right.
And people trying to bring them to the table. But yeah, I will say though, speaking my truth as a young Native man, it's not. Why do I have to explain who I am and what I do every single day? It becomes exhausting, But
I felt that way when I was younger. But as I get older, I kind of or I'm trying to
or when we travel, off note, but we went to Texas to go get a piece of equipment for the crew, and talking to people there, they see the tattoos, they see the look, and they see the shirts we're wearing. Oh, are you guys Indian or tribal? And we're like, yeah, and half of them being like, I don't even know what that is.
Yeah.
And then the other half being like, oh, well, I'm enrolled with the Chickasaw or whatever, because northern Texas has a lot of natives and Oklahoma's right there. But that's also part of it where you're like, dude, I think a majority of society really doesn't know what stewardship is, what indigenous people do, and how our role in this, and how much we have truly fought for the rights of all of the people in all of society. Many policies, many things that have been implemented nowadays are off of the words and the backs and the work of Native people. And that's still happening today. You got people like Ron Good or Don Hankins, who's writing policies to this is how it needs to be done. You got rights of nature laws that are popping up where it's hey, this tree is older than all of us here. It has a right to exist. It has a right to its own life and its own, freedom. Yeah, I know it's a tree, but still it's 1,000 years old, 100 years old. There's something to be accounted for that. And so just on that side of things too, Native people we're out here to try to help make a difference and help be that change in the world that we want to see. And, we're the first people of this land, whether people like it or not, it's the truth, so.
And I think it's good for, like I said, with the people here, and I heard you guys already say it, you can identify certain trees and plants and a lot of things here, because again, a lot of tribes, and even federally recognized tribes, they don't do that. They don't see, oh, that's oak tree, oh, that's cedar. And I think that's where it needs to start from, because in today's, where I'm at, and when I go up to California, a lot of people want you to go ahead and just dance and sing and make regalia riggings. But, the first thing you should do is learn the land. First thing you should do is learn trees and plants and animals before you jump right into the
Yeah, I can totally relate to that. I grew up here, and for me, when I turned 18, when I graduated high school, I couldn't get out of here quick enough. I went to the ocean, I went to the city, I wanted to get away. And so that was an actual direct reconnection for me to the culture, was coming in, getting to know the land, and that brought me back into getting to know our culture and being part of our tribal council and all that. That was the connection. I connected to the land first, and then I came back and connected to our people.
Well, and that's why I love our crew, because it's most of those aren't going to be your dancing Indians or your singing Indians. They're like the working Indians. We joke, they're we're the hunting party. We'll go out away from everybody else and do our thing, provide for the tribe that way.
We all had our own duty, our own roles.
We still do.
Yeah. And people need to know
can't do it all.
Not everybody danced, not everybody sang.
No.
You had people who to take care of the land, and
the
people that hunt,
people who take care of the kids.
Yeah,
they like to think they're the warriors.
Yeah,
we're the Beaver Clan. We're the warriors of the Miwok crew. but no, and then you said it too. It happened probably almost 10 years ago now. But there was the fire up north.
Yeah,
big fire. A lot of fuels reduction that needed to be done after the fact for hazard trees and stuff. And there was a crew from Georgia. They were out of state crew. They came up there and they cut down 200 blue oaks. And it wasn't until about 2 weeks into the project or whatever that the project manager realized what was happening. Oh, and they got their butts ripped.
Oh, wow.
They got, you will never be allowed on a contract in California ever again. And the general response from that contractor was I didn't know no better. Who cares? I'm from Georgia. What do I know about blue oaks? We don't have those out there. So that was this is why you go local.
Yeah.
You go indigenous.
Yeah.
That should have never happened, and it should never happen again. That is, so that, and I'm just saying that story because that's true. That happened. And I always forget to tell people wait, there's a perfect example of why, because you get outside contractors come in, they're going to do whatever they're going to do.
Yeah.
Just about money.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I feel like Indigenous, and I could be biased, but like my cousin, they work for forestry in St. Carlos, and they got the hot shot crew, drum hot shot crew. And they're just like in every, area that's really close, and they do a lot of fire. And I feel like, they put them there because they do a lot of praying, they do a lot of singing, and then they go and fight fire.
Yeah.
And so I feel like we're always been close to fire. We always thought of fire as being sacred.
Right.
Yeah.
And being safe,
Mm-hmm.
even putting that first, that and being like, okay, we're going to pray first to take care of ourselves, our families back home. And like, that's pretty cool.
Well, and not to get, like I said, not to get cheesy, but working and having known, like I've gotten to be on treks with another fire crew that they're native, and their boss was a hot shot for many native crews. Yeah. And just hearing that story or talking to Dirk Charlie about his years of doing it, it's like, when you get a native hot shot crew, you're getting some of the best of the best at anything they do, regardless of just being a hot shot crew. They're culturally sound, they're resource sound, they think about everything and that sort of thing. Yeah. And most of the people that I've met, women and men, native women and men that do this work, I mean, you're getting a special breed of people. They want to do this. They want to be out there, especially for hot shot.
Drawn to it naturally.
Right. So it's like again, not to be cheesy, but you're getting the warriors of those people, of the tribes, when those people go and do that. So I always tell people, what'd you expect? That's what we do. That's what they do. We need more of those crews,
I need more tattoos.
Well, they call it the triangle posse. That's somebody like, oh, you're part of the triangle brigade, huh? I'm like, what's that? They're like, that's what all natives have tribes. Yeah. Dang, I never heard that. I guess I am part of the triangle brigade.
Yeah. But it's good to see you guys working with, the department and working with the park, things like that, because I don't see that much.
Other tribal crews too.
Intertribal collaboration. It's good. But we're in the early days of healing with the Park Service, I think, and we're lucky here at Yosemite that we have this long relationship that we've had. I heard other parks have a harder time, with their tribes, but we still, it's still not perfect. We talk about co-stewardship and we talk about, all these different ways of collaborating, but we're still regulated on how we can be out here. And so we actually, just to pivot a little bit, we got 900 acres of our own.
Right.
Just last year, right. Within it's on the border of Yosemite National Park and Sierra National Forest. And so I feel like that, for me, that's like our spot. You're not going to tell us when we can be there. You're not going to tell us how we can be there. I mean, there is, we got it with grant funding. So there's
state of California. Yeah.
There's a deed restriction, so there are rules about what we can do out there, mostly just no construction, but anything else.
But we can go pray there. We can go
collect
there.
and burn.
You gather there?
Yeah.
It's our
go hunt.
Yeah. And it's here, you got to drive through Yosemite to get to it. And so it's really, I think, an opportunity for us to demonstrate to the federal government, this is how you take care of this landscape.
And even be a good partner to the surrounding community and just like, just make it healthy.
Awesome.
And and Tara and Irene could speak to it more. I mean, Irene used to work for the Park Service, so she definitely seen the inside structures, how things are done. Yeah. And it's definitely not. And I mean, I sat on the board back in like 2016, 2017. So it's like, I used to go, at that time we were dealing with a lot of meetings with the Park Service for Wahoga and finalizing some things. And I always knew like it's never been, the best relationship, but it's been one that's been open and trying to communicate and talk. And I really do put a lot of pride on our elders that have stood tall in those rooms and in those meetings and said, no, this is what we want. Yeah. This is what we need. And this is how we're going to do it. But as far as today goes, people like Garrett Dickman, you know what I mean? Or Molly Baptiste or Russ Mitchell, which technically Russ works for fire now. It's not even the Park Service, but those people work for the Park Service. And for them to do what they do as far as wanting to be partners and work with us and really write grants or write contracts and projects that are reflective of wanting that partnership, not just saying it, but actually being like, no, take the lead. We want you guys to be the one to do it. You navigate how you want this to look. You guys are the native stewards, right? Right. So it hasn't always been easy. It's not always been, something that flowed freely, but with people like Garrett and with people like that, it makes things a lot easier. And so I do want to give him a shout out, people like Mark Garrett, Nellie Tucker, who are working for the Park Service that work alongside the Mesu crew. Yeah. You have a new generation of people that want to see that good work, that understand, hey, our ancestors had an opportunity to try to create a partnership that we have today, that we can do today. So let's try to do it, and like I said, it's not been easy. There's always going to be, bigger political people that have their own agenda and their own things. And, McFadden's got to deal with things. But for the most part, a lot of the people we deal with, we grew up with. Tara's went to high school with, Parker, who's one of the fire captains. Irene's gone to school with Tyler Schmerber, who's one of the fire captains.
Oh, wow.
They've gone to school with these people. Yeah. We grew up with these people. Yeah. They don't see, like Russ Mitchell. Yeah, Russ Mitchell graduated. He's a Grizzly. So a lot of them.
Wow.
Yeah, that's.
It's community.
That's
relationship. Yeah.
And maybe that makes it work.
Easier for them to get it, because they grew up here. They saw us since they were kids.
And maybe I'm giving away our secret, but that's the secret of it. When you're sitting across the table from people you grew up with, of course you're going to be on the same team. You want to get good stuff done. So,
Awesome.
Sorry, that was long.
No, it's okay. And, as they do the sequoia and they climb up, they're just going to come down and just tell the people
what
that's healthy. And he said today that it's pretty healthy.
Yeah, it looks like it. And I think, this will be an important part of just understanding how our landscape is changing.
Yeah.
Because even this isn't stuff that our ancestors dealt with. They didn't deal with these catastrophic fires. They didn't deal with all this infrastructure and climate change and all these things that are new to us. So, I think there are traditional answers, but I think it's also good to just know what's changing and what needs help.
And you don't know how big these trees are until you actually see them walking on that branch. Then I realize how big this tree is.
Well, and just for anybody listening, like one of the lower branches of the grizzly giant is the size of like a bus.
Yeah.
It's,
oh my God.
It's bigger than the trees that are around it, DBH. Diameter at breast height. So
the branches.
The branches, the branches, are bigger than some of the trees. So, just so people know, putting it in perspective, this is it's a big tree.
Yeah, it is.
Then it's neat to see the babies right there.
Right, right next to them. Well, and then it shows you too, like, see how many years it's off. No,
drive safe.
Thank you.
Yeah, thanks for coming out.
Next week.
Okay.
So I think that's just it's definitely
We're saying
cool.
bye to the TCC crew lead.
All right.
Yeah, the Tuolumne Conservation Corps.
Yeah, we're proud of them.
So really, I mean, they've been
next generation.
Yeah, and I mean, and it's just the truth of it. But they've really been the only other tribe that's committed boots on the ground and want to do that. So.
It's a big landscape, it's not that tribes don't want to be here with us. It's that, they've got their side of the mountain that they got to care for too. And it's a big job. And that's why we need to all collaborate.
And the
together.
tribal capacity, even just building up a crew, even if you're fairly recognized, it's tough.
I mean,
those grants are kind of just starting to come available from the state of California. So,
and
there's a lot of people just working on building up
capacity
that, those crews. Yeah.
Well, and I mean, I'm not giving myself a pat on the back, but working with Tara, but working with Tara and Irene, they can attest to this. You really do need to have someone that's going to be in the field and can help lead that objective, help lead that crew, help build that culture, especially as new tribal crews.
Not easy.
It's not easy. And I mean, honestly, we don't have to talk too deep on this, but I mean, most tribal communities, you're dealing with mental health issues. You're dealing with addiction. You're dealing with kids that grew up rough, people that are trying to change their life. You deal with that. So
some not trying to change.
Some that are just feel entitled to do the work, but not want to change or not want to commit to actually, because I mean, it's not a big commitment per se, but you are committing to becoming a land steward and healing. If you're some drug addict or some alcoholic and how can you possibly be moving?
Not dependable.
Right. How can you possibly be
not
moving?
Safe with your crew.
Yeah.
Right. You can't do this work or be stewarding the land and putting your medicine into the land in a good way if you're doing that stuff. That's just my opinion.
Well, there's two sides. There's another side to that too, because you can't, there's tons of forestry crews all over ants all over the mountain, different types of forestry crews doing different types of work, machine work, mastication, but to really do it from a cultural place of of, you're not just going down and mowing down the forest. You're really being mindful of what you're leaving behind, what you're preserving, what you're taking out. And the reason you're doing it, I think even if you're doing the same work, that Sawyer is going to cut that tree and that Indigenous person is going to cut that same tree, but it's going to mean something different on this crew.
Yeah.
Well, and it's not like production. There's production, but it's not production based.
Yeah.
So like where another crew might look and say, we need to cut all these trees down. My crew might be
how many acres a day can you do?
Right. Our crew will be like, hey, we're not dropping that. That's an elderberry tree. Why would we drop that? Or, hey, that's an old cedar. Why would we drop that? We're not dropping that today. Leave that. You'll rarely hear that conversation amongst crews that aren't native, They're going to follow prescription and they're going to do what the prescription tells them to do, which no fault. That's how it's written.
Right.
As native people, whether it's, I don't consider it arrogance. I can just consider it a cultural duty to try to protect certain things. And we do that, and most of the contractors we've worked with, they actually appreciate that. So
cool.
Yeah.
All right. Well,
yeah.
You guys got anything else before we close out?
Well, we did it.
No, thank you very much. I mean, it's great to see you working with this crew.
Right.
See you working with the park service, and it's good to have a good relationship with them to get things done here. So I'm really glad to see that today. I was good to hear you guys, talking and smudging with all the non-natives, and so I thought it was a really nice thing to see.
The smudge microphone.
Yeah.
I mean, surprisingly, a lot of people, they love it. They take to it. Been on a couple fires too, where they see the native crews smudging down, and the next thing you know, you have a line of like 20 non-natives, and they're like, do you mind if I get some? And I'm like, no, that's
the
cool.
thing, though. Smoke is really sacred among many religions, So,
All right.
Thanks.
But
thank you so much. Thank you guys.
Fight for our existence. We are very much in line with that.
Yeah.
Thank you.
All right.
Yeah, defend the sacred.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you all for tuning in to the Fight for Existence podcast. If you guys want to keep up with the podcast in general, what you could do is follow the social media account. The Instagram account is going to be Fight for Our Existence. Again, that's Fight number 4 Our Existence. Go ahead and give that a follow. And if you guys have any questions for us, or you guys would like to be on the podcast, in the Instagram, there's a link. Go ahead and click that. No matter what kind of platform you guys listen to this podcast on, there's always that plus or that follow button. So go ahead and click that so you guys can get notifications when we upload our next episode. And if you guys are listening on Spotify, what you can do is go ahead and rate the show. And if you guys are only listening on Apple Podcasts, what you can also do is write a review for the show. Thank you all for tuning in to the Fight for Existence podcast, and we will talk to you next time.